I was 16 when this happened. Golden age of F-ups. I hooked up with one of the girls from my church. We were on opposite ends of the spectrum when it came to religious obligations. I was more of an observer in our church, whereas she was like fully devoted to serving the big G. However, the two of us shared one common goal. We wanted to fuck. Which we did. But afterwards she was overcome with religious guilt and without warning me went straight to our pastor to confess her carnal sins. She named and shamed both of us. None of this would have been that bad if it wasn't for the fucked up fact that our pastor was also my damn father. So thanks to that confession, that's how my dad found out his virgin son dipped his doodle in the deacon's daughter. So this actually happened about a week and a half ago. Some pre-knowledge. I dated my next door neighbor for about a year and a half, but then we eventually broke up. So the other day I was really hungry and wanted some Panda Express orange chicken. I texted my friend to see if he wanted to go get some Panda with me and he replied sure, but that he wanted to drive because he had gotten a new car and wanted to surprise me with it. I was like, alright, sounds good brother, see you in a bit. A couple minutes later a car rolls up in front of my house. So naturally I went out and got in thinking that it was my friend. I got in and buckled and was ready to go when the driver looked over and said, you're not my girlfriend. Quickly I looked up and realized, oh god, I am in my ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend's car. I started to unbuckle and get out. I opened the door and heard a thunk. Now I'm thinking to myself, oh god, I just hit the door against the curb, but when I looked up it turns out I actually hit my ex with the door. Quickly I apologized and got out and waited for my friend inside my house. This TIFU has been in the making since last September. This is a throwaway account, as my real one is known to my friends. Late last summer I started having some heart problems, irregular heartbeat, high pulse and the works. Naturally my family doctor prescribed a daily 25mg tablet of metoprolol, which kept the symptoms to a minimum. I'm a pretty private guy, so nobody but my close family knew. Though I've always been pretty healthy, that was the wake-up call I needed to start working out. Beside hitting the gym, I also joined a sharpshooting club, and I was natural at it. Over the course of a few months I moved from shooting prone with the help of a few sandbags to shooting standing up. My aim was steady, breathing as slow as possible, heartbeat minimal. I'm pretty sure you guys have already made the connection between the heart meds and my fantastic performance, but I sure as hell didn't. In the meantime a cardiologist said tough shit and bumped up the meds. During the course of this school year I was consistently better than the other newcomers at sharpshooting, winning small tournaments in the club. Soon they decided to have me participate in a bigger tournament, with an actual prize. The stakes were high, but I was a stone cold shooter. Later that day, checking out my Fitbit, I found that my pulse had never gone over 85, and that was when I had to bicycle over the range. Flash forward 2 more tournaments to today. My friend jokingly mentioned that I must have been doping to do so well and the dots connected. I googled metoprolol doping, there it was. I still haven't told anyone, but Reddit. What the hell do I do now? Okay guys, gonna make it short. This happened like a year ago, but I just remembered it and want to share. It was around noon, was feeling hungry, so I headed to my country's version of Uber Eats to order some nice lunch. Found the food I liked, proceeded to check out and noticed that the box where you can leave some message for the restaurant had no limit for characters. So I got an idea to prank the restaurant by copy-pasting entire B-movie script there, so it will get printed on the receipt. That's where the FU happened. Few minutes after I sent the order, got message it was cancelled. Okay. No big deal, might happen. So I want to order some food somewhere else, when I noticed some blackish smoke in a distance. It wasn't that far away, but was studying and didn't wanna leave my spot in library. Well, shortly after, also like 2 fire trucks passed by, heading the restaurant's direction. PS, was on ground floor, wall was from glass, so you could easily see on the street. The next day I read in local newspapers that the exact restaurant caught fire because of some cash register malfunction. You hear this story millions of times of people unknowingly hooking up with their relatives and finding out about this atrocity in the most awkward ways, and mine was no exception. Even had to create a new account cause it is so embarrassing. I was talking to this guy on Hinge who had the softest of hazel eyes, and at the time, I thought he was the one. After exchanging a few messages, we decide to go on a date, and one thing lead to another, and we were a couple. We dated for about 5 months, until the horror struck us that we were relatives. Since we are both in our mid-20s, we were moved away from home and hadn't had time to meet each other's parents. Instead of doing the traditional, I'll bring you over to meet my parents, and I'll go over to meet yours, we decided for a dinner with both our parents. You can pretty much tell where the story goes now. Long story short, we took our families out to a restaurant, and when my father stood up from the table to introduce himself to my boyfriend's mother, his face turned completely white, as he was looking directly at his cousin, uncle's daughter. It took her a second to realize as well. Since my family and his family live on opposite sides of the states, our parents hadn't seen each other in about 30 years, and it was coincidence that my boyfriend and I moved to the same city. We could tell something was wrong the way our parents looked at each other, and they informed us that we were related. Even though we loved each other, we decided it wasn't right to do. That was one of the hardest breakups of my life, but it had to be done for the sake of our family. I told my friends that it didn't work out and silently removed everything from social media.